What's up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my all new review of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I am late, but let's get into it. We are back with Kimmy and Kyle having the conversation about the narrative that Kimmy was the side chick of Maurice when Kyle and Maurice was married. Okay. Now, I was going in and out of this conversation because I didn't care. Just like having this issue is a no care. It doesn't make any sense. It's a past due issue. For me, seeing how Kimmy got re-mad all over again, saying how Kyle had no integrity, it's kind of like, Kimmy, you didn't care when Maurice wanted to have a conversation about it. You felt as though we are past that. But he made you, and you felt the need to now act as if you are caring about a narrative of you being a side chick. When the first time it was created, the first time it was implied, it should have been shut down from that point, but it wasn't. So Kawa is saying that she's sorry that she felt that way. She had no control about what other people had to say about that. Kawa does not go around doing interviews, answering comments. She goes about her business, okay? Because it's been the narrative that Kimmy was the cause of Kawa's and Maurice's divorce, all right? And no matter how things were said or how things wasn't said, the narrative of her being a side chick was put out there. Now, Kimmy did this whole spiel about how Maurice wanted to protect his son and how he wanted to protect you. And in return, I didn't get protected, which means I had to deal with the backlash of me being a side chick. My son had to see that the whole entire time. I'm receiving a lot of heat for a part that I did not do, for a narrative that was not true. And to me, it's just kind of like, I don't understand what's all of this. This is obviously for Maurice, though. Maurice, give this to Maurice. Maurice did not care that you were reading a lot of comments that everybody called you a side chick, reading every single thing negative about you, and he did not stop it. He did not reassure you. You're placing the energy of what was said onto Kawa, and it should be towards Maurice, okay? And to be honest, though, Kimmy, I think the timeline of how you met Maurice needs to be addressed. The timeline of when Kawa and Maurice were about to get a divorce, because if Kawa said on the show that boundaries or a line was crossed, that could imply that Kawa was believed that her marriage could have been salvaged. There could have been a step to reconciliation, which maybe go back to my point at my last review. Maurice said something to Kawa to make her feel like there was reconciliation. So the fact that he's parading you around, it made her feel away. It made her feel like her hope had been crushed. So she took her energy out on you because she probably is protecting Maurice about what he said to her, what he made her feel like. But since she don't want to call him out, she wants to come at you. So the common denominator of how all of this has not been fully understood and cleared up is Maurice. He's the problem, okay? Now, Kimmy, if you know how you got with Maurice, then how you got with Maurice is how you got with Maurice. It's of no consequence at this point. You have been married for a while. You have done a lot with him. Nobody cares at this point. You got the man, all right? Kawa is now married and living her own life, okay? So Kimmy was pretty much going on and on of her feelings of this, the narrative, and I'm just like, girl, the pain that you have been holding on to, you're saying it to the wrong person. You need to say it to Maurice, okay? And the fact that the whole time while Kimmy is defending her point, defending what she had to go through, defending what Jalen had to read, even though wasn't Jalen an adult at that point, grown, it's just like, Kimmy, what you want? You're putting all this responsibility on Kyla when this isn't her responsibility to fix. It's just like with Stormy, how she wanted the responsibility of Melody to come out and say she didn't record her. That wasn't Melody's responsibility. Stormy, if you did not record Melody, you come out and say you didn't do it. Kimmy, if you're not a side chick, you should come out and say I'm not a side chick. And your husband should have been behind you and agreed. But he ain't going to do that. He's letting you defend yourself all by yourself in every way, shape, and form. So right now, since you've never expressed to her that you felt this way, how the fuck is she supposed to know? So right now, for the record, she never said you were a side chick. Now, Kimmy, who is a communicative expert, she felt as though this apology wasn't a genuine one. It was a, if I offended you, if I said this, I'm at this point, Kimmy, either let it go or accept it. Moving on, because this was redundant. Kyle said, I've grown, I've seen things differently, and I moved on. Just like how you want to move on, so do I. Let's go. We got Stormy. Stormy is setting up to have a one-on-one with Melody because she felt as though it was not clear to where they stand. So she wants clarity. Okay. Melody is all about using effective communication. And hopefully after this conversation, they will at least be peace. So it's been a minute since they've had a one-on-one. They've seen each other in group setting. And Stormy mentioned how Melody has been going through a lot dealing with the courts. But Stormy doesn't want to have a pleasantry conversation. She wants to get down to the nitty gritty. So she's been thinking about Melody, and she wants to understand why Melody tends to avoid hard conversations, and it's easier for her to shut it down than go through it. I said, what you trying to do, Stormy? What are you trying to prove? What are you trying to say? How is she avoiding a hard conversation? Melody has had plenty of hard conversations. I just think you guys don't like the way Melody moves after that is the problem. And she told you, checked you by saying, if I did not want to have a hard conversation, I would not have hosted a tea, nor would I have not come today for a conversation. So at that point, that's a redundant comment to make. And based on what was shared at the tea party, Melody found out that Betty had an issue with Melody. Now, Melody was trying to talk about what was shared at the tea party. She's trying to get it out that Betty expressed how she felt about Mel, but Stormy keeps interrupting her because she wants to be like, yeah, I want to know how you felt about that. I want to know how you feel. If you would shut up for a second, Stormy, stop interrupting. That was the problem you had at the tea party. You kept interrupting. Right now in this moment, Melody was building up to express what your mother said about her. But I don't know, for some odd reason, you just could not shut up for a second without trying to get ahead of it. She's trying to talk. Don't talk. Let me talk. Okay? So Melody wants to know from the beginning. When her and Stormy was hanging out, did she already know how her mother felt about Melody? Stormy avoided the question by saying that she can't control her mother's mouth. And her mom has never liked anybody. She's never liked Courtney. She don't even like her sister. Her mom is the type of person who has a very heavy guard up. And until she sees that person prove themselves of worth, then she'll like them. Then that's not a good thing, Stormy. I am not going to bend over backwards for your mama to like me when I'm not trying to befriend your mama. I'm trying to befriend you. And if you are going to allow your mom to come in and break up any type of friendship, business wise, personal wise, then your mama is going to be the detriment of anything you have to going on. Besides, the only thing she could not control is your choice of a mate. She had to accept that. But at the same point in time, you did not answer the question. So Melody asks again, did you know before we started to hang out how your mom felt about me? She said, I did know her opinions of you based off of how you were on the show. But it was wrong for her to have that assumption of you, and I don't agree she should have done that. So Melody is agreeing with Stormy that I don't believe you carry on to how your mother feels. I don't believe your thoughts are hers. But at the same time, I am coming back from a relationship with someone and her mom, meaning Tisha and Miss Wanda. And I don't have the energy to go back to that again. I don't have the energy. If I'm building a friendship, building a relationship, I hear your mama snickering about me. I hear your mom talking shit about me to you, and I'm still carrying on a friendship. Yeah, I ain't got time for it. And what's so funny is everybody pretty much clocked that Miss Wanda was the voice for Tisha. Tisha was too scared and chicken shit to express how she fully felt about Mel, and her mom was the main one to always do it for her. So in that aspect, Stormy, you and your mom are kind of different in that aspect. You don't agree with what your mother says, but you don't tell her that she's wrong is the problem. Tisha has allowed her mom to be wrong in every way, shape, and form, never calling her out without wanting to add somebody else into the mix. She never tells her mom to stay out of her business. Her mother is always in her business. And just like how Miss Betty is always in your business, that's where the problem is. So Melody is not for that. She really is. And she has been emotionally and mentally drained of dealing with that. Don't want to deal with somebody else's mama coming for her, talking shit about her, which is what Miss Wanda has continuously done, and now what has Miss Betty has been doing, okay? So Melody pretty much is expressing that I don't think we could be friends at this point because your mama don't like me. And it's also funny to me how, Stormy, you've had Melody around you. She's been in your home, and Miss Betty has never liked Melody from that moment on, to the point where Betty wanted to create another issue about not liking Mel is because she expected for Mel to come out and defend you with the recording when Stormy could did that herself. And that Miss Betty felt as though Melly shouldn't agree with her that her grandson is becoming too spoiled. So, yeah, Melody is pretty much done at this point. And the thing about it is, for me, Stormy, you were building a friendship with Melody. It started off being business, then it led to it being a friendship. And you're now seeing the way Melody moves when it comes to her having friends. And if it's not something that you're going to understand and respect the boundaries that she puts up with, then don't be her friend. Just be an associate, be a co-worker, because that's not your type of friendship, and not every friendship works for everybody. And I feel like that's the main topic of this season. What is a friend? Sometimes you don't have to spend every moment, every time talking to your friend. You can go days, weeks, months from talking to the same friends, same circle of friends, and ain't nothing wrong if you have that kind of friendship. If you can go months without speaking to somebody, and you can say, hey girl, what's up, just checking in, seeing how you doing, and then just cuts it off like that. If you want to schedule a time for a lunch, you can schedule a time for a lunch. You want to get something to drink, you can do that, because everybody got a life, everybody got their own business, everybody doing what they got to do, what they're not available to speak every day. Okay. So for you, I feel like you want to have an issue with her, and I don't understand why. In the confessional, you're talking about how Melody never expresses her true feelings. She opposes to gaslighting, being passive aggressive by acting like there isn't an issue when there clearly is one. You lost me there. I don't feel like Melody is gaslighting anybody. Don't know where you got that from. When it comes to be passive aggressive, absolutely. Melody can be passive aggressive. She could just speak in terms and riddles without saying exactly how she feels, because she probably feels like I ain't got time to fully say what I have to say because how I'm moving should reflect on what you've been doing, which I feel like is the reason why you want her to say it. You have probably done some things that you're feeling guilty about, and since you don't want to say it, or you don't want to be caught that you were doing something foul, you were doing something iffy, you want her to say it, so that way it can be like, does she know what I've done? So that's right there is where you can miss me, okay? You can miss me, miss me, miss me. And I don't know what else you want her to say. She was listening to you. She was responding to you. But Millie has also paid attention that anything that she says is going to get flipped in a negative way. So she's just saying less as possible and allowing things to take its course. As if you guys don't see what she got going on. That's why Melody keeps her friends off the show, because she don't want that to infringe on what she has going on the show. But whatever. Okay. We got Tisha. Tisha is walking inside a venue that she has selected for the Black Business Expo. She made the executive decision. I don't know why she made it seem like that. It's your event. You make all the decisions. Everybody who still wants to be on board is coming by to see the space. And she is also including Stormy and Courtney to be a part of it because they hold more of a weight. They hold more of a name than the rest of them combined. When it came down to showing the space, Tisha was walking around these tight ass jeans, showcasing that body, that ass. Everybody was looking. I was looking. And when Martell was looking at Tisha walking around, he said somebody's been working out. Marceau wanted to act like he's feeling away. Now Martell is looking at his wife's body. I'm like, Marceau, please. We have footage, a lot of footage of you always talking about what Melody has been wearing, what clothes she's been wearing, how much cleavage she's been showing. You can miss me with that, okay? Tisha was loving the attention though. She was. But Marcel ain't gonna do nothing about it. And the purpose of everybody coming together to bring Courtney and Stormy on board is to announce that Melody is not a part of the comeback group. She said no. Now, Martell's face was crushed because he wanted to be around Melody. And when Tisha was explaining that it's not just about you, Martell. The custody case is a lot, but it's also due to she's not in a good place with any of us right now. And she has a good reason. We were not in a good space a couple of months ago. Yeah, Tisha, y'all not. You called her dark soul, and you practically said she don't take accountability, so she does not want to be around any of y'all right now. And it is not fair for you guys to ask her to put her feelings to the side to be there for you, which makes no sense. Martell want to believe that, oh, she's saying it's all on me. She's saying me. I'm the problem. I'm the main reason. Tisha said it's not just you, but you are a good percentage of it. And he wants to go into the confessional, always try to make it seem as if Melody is this hard person to be around. She never lets things go. She never puts her feelings to the side. And I'm looking at Martell, you don't put your feelings to the side. The last two meetings that y'all have had about this Black Expo, you wanted a moment with Mel and she said no. When she didn't say hi, you said it was childish. Anytime that you want a moment with her, she's not dealing with you versus what you already putting her through with this court case, with your asshole of a mistress, you can miss me with that. So this whole greatness and community shit y'all spewing, it's a bunch of crock. It's a bunch of crock. Okay? So since Maurice was betting on Melody for being a part of the group, does he still want to be a part of it now that Melody is backing out? Maurice did a whole speech about how the energy is gone. I don't know if we can get it back. I heard nothing, but since he doesn't have nothing else going on, he's going to be a part of it. So when Courtney and Stormy have arrived, Martell was the only one who was being honest that she did come in as a replacement for Mel because y'all needed somebody else with a name that can put y'all event on the map. If people knew who was coming, they would come. When you wanted Mel to come, you knew people would come. Now that she's not coming, you're not going to have as many people. So Stormy and Courtney are the last to be included. They're doing the walkthrough. I already said nobody can concentrate because Tisha got these ass fitting jeans that are just like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? But moving on from that, Maurice. Maurice is playing basketball with Junior. Maurice got his ass whooped by Junior. He scored more points than him. And someone wrote down for Maurice to read off that the whole entire time of him giving lectures, him telling his son what to do, he, was thinking of himself. He was viewing how he was raised, his upbringing onto his son. And I realized that you're not me. He had to grow up fast, just like Marceau. At the age they were in, younger than Junior. Since he's 16, Maurice and Marceau had to grow up earlier than that. They already had multiple jobs before they were 15. He was cutting grass and cutting hair. Marceau had about 3 different jobs. So the fact that the hustle mentality, the getting out the mud mentality had to be used at an early age for Maurice and Marceau, he expected it to be kicked in with his son, but his son will have to go through that. His son has a lot of privileges, a lot of advantages that you didn't have when you were growing up. And since he understands that, he still wants to know who his son is. But Maurice, your son can't tell you who he is if he doesn't know who he is. He's still figuring that out. He's only 16. He don't know who he is yet. You can't ask that of him. And you want your son to tap into his full potential. I hear that. But you have to allow him to reach that point. You can't force him to grow up faster than you did. You can't do that. You have to allow for him to grow into his own, and you have to teach him. You can't just tell him. Telling at him, lecturing him is not going to have him learn anything. Okay? Now, he gave the opening for his son to express how he feels. He said that the conversation they had was needed, but it got boring because it kept getting repeated. And it's funny how it kept getting repeated because there's no learning lesson behind it. You're constantly just hearing yourself talk and it's not teaching your son anything. You have to teach him. You're telling him he needs to handle his responsibilities at the house. He needs to do chores. He needs to do this and that. Please give that advice to yourself, Maurice. You can't tell your son how he needs to step it up and handle his responsibilities, handle his chores, when you don't do the same thing. You don't help out Kimmy with dishes. You don't help out Kimmy with the laundry, vacuuming. You don't do none of that. So you can't tell your son to step up if you're not stepping up. Be the example. Be the leader. That's what you're supposed to do. Now he gets it more now because he had his phone taken away. So the privileges that he's been awarded is being taken away, and that's letting him know, if I don't do what I have to do, this is going to get taken away. I mean, the conversation was cool, but I still feel like Maurice is not going to do nothing else but have this scene. He's going to go by what this scene was. He's not going to do anything else because I feel like Maurice is all talk, no action. That's all it is. But okay, moving on from that. Courtney goes over to his mom's house to talk to him about Stormy wanting to have another baby, but he's not on board with that. He's not on board with Stormy having another baby because it was a difficult pregnancy with their first son. And he's not open to surrogacy. I was trying to understand where Courtney was coming from, because either Courtney has a fear that having multiple kids is not going to keep his relationship with Stormy tight, because he wants them to be close. He wants them to be a unit. He wants his children to grow up in a two-parent household, because he didn't have that. And since his father is not here anymore, his father abandoned him when his mom was struggling to be a single mother. She had to go through the hurdles of either using the money for gas to go to work or use the money to go buy medicine, because she had to struggle on her own. And he doesn't want to ever put him through that and put Stormy through that. He did not have his dad around to teach him how to fix a flat, put on a tie. He sees his teammates have their fathers around helping him, and he doesn't want to do that to his son. He wants to be there for his son. His mom already told him, you're stepping in more than your father has ever did. But the fact that he doesn't want to have more children is the cause of his fear that if we have more children, it will make our lives difficult. It will make our marriage not stay close, stay strong. I'm just like, you can't think like that, Courtney. Having multiple children should not be the detriment of your marriage. You need to express to Stormy how you feel. And I love that his mom understood where he was coming from, but you can't dismiss how Stormy feels. You can't do that. And you are stepping in more. You're there for Chess. You're doing more than what your father did. You're showing up more, and that's a good thing. You're breaking that curse. But the whole thing about the kids is what I'm still confused on. That's what I'm a little confused on. But I guess if you feel like having one child is enough and it's not too much to take on with you, Stormy, your business, and you're going to have to let her know that. But don't just write it off as if you're never going to have any more kids, especially not in a big age range, because that's what his mother told him. I wish I would not have spaced my kids out. Don't know by how much. Me and my sisters are 12 years apart and 19 years apart, and we have a very close relationship. My kids are 4 years apart and they have a close relationship. So however it's decided, you need to have that conversation. Moving on, we get to the expo. Stormy is setting up early, and she's kind of regretting it because she needed to get these orders out to be mailed to New York. And Stormy is at the expo while Courtney is back at the warehouse with the other workers, making sure it gets done before they reach the deadline. So Tisha arrived, and apparently the event coordinator told her they had 25 vendors altogether. A few more was added, and now the space could be a little bit tight. Now, I don't know how big Tisha wanted the event to be, how big the space is. Don't even know how many vendors were going to be included. I feel like once the word was out, there was a Black Business Expo, everybody wanted to be involved, but she didn't think about the space. She didn't think about if they had room for everything. And the coordinator wasn't aware of how many vendors we could have had. So since the coordinator couldn't say no to how many people could have been included, it might be a tight space. We still need enough space for everybody to walk through, get a feel of everything. And so with not having enough room for everything, the coordinator wasn't fully aware of how many vendors could come in. Since 25 is now the number, Tisha's worried about the space could not be big enough. It might be a bit tight. But that was a sign for me that y'all don't know what y'all doing. How are you going to plan an event and you don't know how big you want the event to be? You don't know how many vendors you want included. And finding out that Stormy has a huge space in the back. Her whole setup is like a pop-up shop. She has her backdrops, her banners, all of that. And it's taking the spot of at least 3 vendors. And now you're worried about maybe it might be a little bit too tight, but you never told her the dimensions. You never told her how much space she can have and use. She just did what she did without any information. Again, that's not how you do business, Tisha. So, worried about the space. Marceau coming in, barging orders, price counting everything that they have paid for, down to the balloons and everything else. He's ordering around the coordinator to check on projectors, and Tisha's wondering why is he so agitated, because this is an important event. Where are the rest of the vendors? They should be here soon. Then he wanted to inform Tisha, did Stormy pay her $100 for her vendor fee? She said no. Why? Well, she was supposed to. We never talked about them paying. And since chocolate in the bottle, didn't pay, why should she pay? Because he wants to say chocolate in the bottle is paying for it. But that still isn't the question, Marceau. If we didn't pay, why should she pay? Is anybody else that's a part of the comeback group paying? Did Kimmy pay? Did Martell pay? You guys were up in arms about avoiding paying people, but you expected for them to pay you when that wasn't even addressed. That wasn't a part of their involvement. Unprofessional. Unprofessional. So right now, he wants to ask everybody that's a part of the vendor, a part of the event, to pay $100 for their vendor fee. That makes no sense to me. You were expecting for them to do this for free, but still pay you? And this wasn't informed, this wasn't included. Why wasn't this talked about the comeback group meeting? Y'all literally expected people. Nope. 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 So it's tacky and unprofessional that you want to go around asking folks for $100. Tisha wasn't gonna do it. You go ahead and call. I'm not doing that. So he said, fine, fine. First person he walked up to was Stormy. He wants to create small talk and then say, hey, Stormy, did you pay your $100? She said, $100 for the vendor fee. Why wasn't this talked about at the walkthrough? I don't know. But isn't it good that I ask you now instead of 3 months from now? No, that's not cool. Why would you ask me on the day of? I come out here early to set up my event, set up my booth. And you want to come in with us about some $100? Listen, regardless if the money was in my possession, it's still unprofessional and tacky of you to ask me on the day of the event. Now, the fact that he wanted to sweet talk Stormy, he wanted to let her know, she's like, that's giving low vibrational. I'm not falling for that. No, because you should know better. You should know better. He didn't think that Stormy had that bite, had that remarks because of what was going on. Like, don't come out on $100. Don't do that. Now he wanted to bring Tisha along because he wanted to flip it as if what Stormy said, how Stormy is not just going along with it. She's not just agreeing it. He wants to find somebody else to explain it better. And she's saying, no, 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 we're not doing that. This is what your husband did. Your husband came by while she's talking. He wants to touch her and say, don't do that. She said, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Your husband came over here saying how if I paid my $100 when I wasn't informed that there was a $100 payment. Don't do that. Seeing how Marceau wants to bring his fat ass, legs, hips, and breast ass over here, asking me about some $100, I will not go into business with Marceau ever again. And I agree. And this is to be continued. Because that's some fucking bullshit. That is not how you do business. I knew it. I said it. I felt as though Marceau's getting his money back one way or the other. Since Chocolate in the Bottle is paying for it, they was probably stretched fucking thin of paying for all of this. So now he wants his money one way or another. And this is how he's going to get it. But this is so unprofessional. You are desperate for money that bad? You so broke? You want $100 that bad? Man, what is going on in Tisha and Marceau's financial woes? What's going on in y'all financial pockets? I would love to know. But y'all, that's it. That's all I have. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye. What's up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my own review of Love and Marriage DC. So we're back with Arena and Winter. All Winter is doing is putting Arena on game that somebody's talking about her and her children, and that she needs to check her circle, okay? Now, Arena is overreacting, calling Winter messy that she even has these receipts, but then don't want to call them receipts. The receipts are 2 years old. They're irrelevant. If they were so irrelevant, Arena, then why didn't you respond to Winter when she first reached out to you? And Winter reached out to you privately, off camera, but you waited to get on camera to have this sit down, which means it's a part of your storyline to have an issue with Winter. Got it. But all in all, it was just kind of like, Arena is overreacting to what she doesn't want to hear and placing all that on Winter. But Winter said we can never be too careful considering the positions that we're in. And it's not unheard of that you're on a reality show that somebody would dig up dirt about you and want to send it to other people in the cast to spray you. It's not unheard of. It's what they do. Then I remember my old video when I watched the reunion. Everybody admitted on that couch that they all have received information about themselves, about other people, but chose not to believe it. Believe it's all smoke, it's all fake, people want attention. Then why don't you read it off like that, Arena? Why y'all mad because Winter is the one who's receiving this information? Like, this is the thing that's bothering me. Y'all give so much energy to what you guys say is not true. It gives off, it might be true. I mean, Arena,
I don't know why you are giving this energy to Winter if it's irrelevant. Like, this is the thing to me. And to me, this is you trying to keep up with having an issue with Winter because of Ashley. That's what's giving me. And if you're not prepared for people to have comments about your life, how you present yourself on TV, then don't get on a reality show. It is what it is, okay? And then we talk about how they blocked each other. And Winter said, I blocked you because you threatened to beat me up. Orena don't want to take accountability, don't want to admit that she did send out a tweet that is pretty much on site when she sees Winter, and she repeated the tweet. Orena want to say, it could have been a conversation. It didn't mean it like that. Orena, she's not stupid. Winter is not stupid. You better pray you don't see me in these streets. I'm going to show you how mute I am. That's an on-site tweet, Orena. We grown. We are grown. You have no business of speaking like that on Twitter. Like, you can miss me with that. Playing the victim card. Good night. So, Arena gets up and say, these are not receipts that you have. You have nothing. You have nothing. Why would you say she don't have nothing when I think she does have something? And why are you getting off the energy that you did not ask for it? You wanted the receipts. These are the receipts. And you're mad. That makes no sense. Why get mad about receipts you asked for? Like, oh my God, I can't. And Arena want to say, we're not friends. We're never going to be friends. Winter said, I'm fine. Move on. That's cool. But if you wanted me to know all we're not going to be is friends, you could send me a text message and a tank of gas. And that's all it really could have been, Arena. You went through this whole song and dance with Winter for no reason. You left her on red for months. And now on the show, you want to bring it up. Miss me. Good night. So Ashley goes over to her childhood house to talk to her mother about the details in her book. You know, her book is about rediscovering herself, taking accountability, forgiving herself, and her mother should take accountability and read that chapter. But her mother don't want to. Her mother doesn't want to admit to the things that she's done. And we're talking about the time where Ashley was 16 that her mother left, packed up her suitcase, moved out to be with her boyfriend, did not see her for months. But the mom want to act like I left you alone. You act like I left you by yourself. You were here by yourself. You had your sister, you had your god brother. Pretty much not admitting that she did leave, but want to say you weren't alone. Girl, then said out of her own mouth that Ashley was grown. She said, how was I grown? Okay, I could have appeared grown. I could have acted more mature, but I was still a 16-year-old girl. So all Ashley wants to do is want her mother to admit, you left me for a man. You put a man in front of your family, a man in front of your daughter for years. All in all, to end up leaving you when you decide to now want to step up and be a grandmother to her first son. So now she was very cavalier that she did not choose a man over her daughter, and that she still wanted to say she was still taking care of Ashley when the bills were paid in the house. It didn't matter if I was next door or across town. That don't mean nothing. Just because you took care of the bills doesn't mean you weren't there.